Now, it's been a few months since my last video, and since then quite a lot has changed. First of all, visually you can tell I'm in a new space, it's my new studio, and I'm settling in. I say this place is about 90% done, but definitely 100% operational, so I can make videos here comfortably again. And yeah, quite a lot has changed for me personally as well, but that's something that we'll talk about in the future. Now, there are a few videos that I do really want to make, starting off with this one, because I feel like this entire year, there have only been about 3 gaming mice that have really caught my eye. The first one being the Final Mouse ULX, which was a complete letdown. The second one is the Akitsu Vancer, which is on its way. And the third one is this guy, the ATK F1 Ultimate, and they sure as hell delivered. In the last few years, I've tried probably a few hundred mice, and out of those few hundred, a handful of them stuck out, and I ended up maining them for a period of time, and those are the mice up there on that shelf. And viewers on my channel will recognize most of them, such as the GPX, the Starlight 12, and the Hardy S. But I feel like even with those mice being, like, to me at least, the best of that time, I felt like there were always some aspects that I never liked about them, and I would kind of complain about them quite often. Now, take for example the Final Mouse Starlight 12, which was, I think, the closest to being my endgame mouse because of how long I made that. And there were a lot of really good aspects about it, like the weight, the shape, and the lack of DC prevent, but there were also a host of issues that came up not immediately most of the time, but after a long period of usage, such as the sensor having skipping issues, the scroll wheel having a lot of glitches, and obviously there's no software and the build quality and the inability to renew it really because they don't make the mouse anymore, right? Like if that guy breaks, I don't have a backup and I can't get it again. I have to get it aftermarket, and that's gonna be secondhand. So there were a lot of things about the Final Mouse I loved, but there were also quite a lot of things about the Final Mouse that I didn't like. Now with the F1, I feel like there's a lot of things that it really does right, especially for my preferences and taste. And I wouldn't say there's anything I'll outright complain about and say they did badly. There are things I would say they could improve on, which I'll talk about later, but yeah, I wouldn't say there's anything that I would straight up say is bad about it, unlike something like the Final Mouse or the Hardy S. Now this is a 38-gram Viper Mini inspired shape that goes up to accurate polling rate and uses armor and opticals for its switches. The build quality on this guy after a month of use has been really good. It's been holding up, and the battery life on this guy is pretty good as well. I think in the last month I've only had to charge this about 2 or 3 times with constant use, and this only comes in at 90 bucks, which is still insane to me because if you showed someone these specs back during the COVID era, this would have gone for like 300 bucks, dude. So yeah, this is really good. Now, besides the obvious weight and shape, the main 2 things that I really do like about this mouse are gonna be the clicks, first of all, with the armor opticals. They're really bouncy and really spammable, especially for the games that I'm playing. The second thing I really like about it is the fact that it doesn't have, for lack of better phrase, it doesn't have a bastardized version of a double click prevention. Now, a recent trend I've seen in the last 1 or 2 years has been this rise of overly aggressive double click prevention, and for the most part, they work until they work a little bit too well. And what I mean by that is, let's say, oh no, I double clicked because I clicked the mouse in the wrong spot and my switch activated twice, which made me fire 2 bullets instead of 1. The way companies used to kind of prevent that or to fix that was to add a debounce time feature where you turn the thing up, but it also led to latency, even though it prevented double clicks, and people didn't like that. So companies recently, I think, have been moving to a different system of cancelling double clicks. Some use eager debounce, some use some other stuff like G-Wolves, WL Mouse, Downward Shark, they all have this. And it works in the sense that, yeah, you're not double clicking because if you click too fast, it prevents the click. But I find that with these companies, when you click too fast, it also cancels out the main click. So what used to happen was, oops, double click, 2 bullets fire. What's happening now with a lot of companies is, oops, double click, no bullets fire. That's worse. But yeah, this is what I've been seeing recently, and that's also kind of why I've not really been using any G-Wolves mice since the HTS, because even though I used to show them pretty hard, they added a lot of eager debounce into their mice, and it made Minecraft really hard to play. Even if you're not trying to double click, even if you want everything to be a single click, I'm clicking fast even then, and then half my clicks don't exist anymore because they're getting called, and there's no way to turn that off, there's no way to change the parameters of that, and that sucks. It really sucks because they make good mice, it's just that the software is holding it back for me. This guy's back to good old debounce time, which is why I really like this, and this is why for me it's really gonna be like my endgame mouse if nothing better comes along in the next 1 or 2 months. Alright, let's talk about areas for improvement because there are 1 or 2 things I think could be slightly better with this mouse. Once again, not bad, and I don't hate them, but could be better. First one's gonna be the coating. The coating is rubberized, it is grippy. Could be more grippy, could be a little bit less smooth. That's about it. The second thing is more of a suggestion. I'm not gonna say that this should be the direction to move in, or I hate it that they're not moving in this direction. But I feel like I would like a version of this with either cutouts at the bottom similar to Lamzu, or honestly even honeycomb. Because I feel like one aspect about this that kind of throws me off a little bit is that it sounds cheap, which makes it feel cheap, but it definitely isn't because the build quality is great. There's no creaking at all. But what I think is happening is that unlike Lamzu, unlike Pulsar, where the bottom is an open bottom, the mouse is basically empty, right? Like gaming mice in 2024, they're basically empty shells with just like a tiny PCB and then the switches. Because this has no holes on it, the sound is getting trapped in there whenever you click, which makes it sound really resonant, and then that gives you the idea that it's like, oh, it sounds cheap, like it sounds like there's nothing in it, but it's more of an illusion that kind of throws me off here and there, because this mouse is definitely very, very well built. Alright, last but not least, let's talk about quality control, which is to me the most important aspect of any product I'm going to recommend, because I'm not going to recommend a product to someone if I have a good copy but they might get a bad copy, because this has happened before with companies like Glorious and a few others. I just don't want to get into that right now. Now, I have seen some people say that in previous batches, ATK's quality control wasn't the best. I have seen some people say that they're made in the same factory as Ninjatsu and other Chinese companies that are currently having some quality control issues and everything. And of course, this mouse was sent out to me for review as usual. And so I have no way of knowing if they went and handpicked out a good copy, an extra good copy for me to review. And so what I did was, before replying to the email and saying, hey, I would like to review the F1 Ultimate, I went ahead and, as a consumer, bought myself another mouse from their company, the VXT R1 Pro, and I do have a mini review on this in YouTube Shorts. And if you've seen that video, you'll know that I said that this guy has pretty much perfect build quality, which is insane. Cool. And with that being said, I think I can safely say that the ATK F1 Ultimate is gonna be my main mouse for the foreseeable future, at least until I try out the Venture Akitsu and maybe that takes over. But even then, yeah, this is fantastic. Even if it's not my favorite mouse in a few months, it's probably gonna be up there as my second or third favorite. So yeah, this is great.